Hello and welcome back to the vlog of pole dancing for inclusion. If you saw the first video, you know that I bruised my ribs at my first class, had a very long recovery. I mean, it was 2 weeks, but that felt really long. And I finally got to do my third class yesterday, and it was a floor flow class. And it was so much fun, and I'm not even sore today, which is just like funny to think about, like how hard the first class was that was considered a beginner class. Just like how hard the first class was and how sore I was. I got injured, all this stuff. And then to like go to 2 other classes that focused on like dancing and other parts of pole dancing, and me not being sore from either of them. Like the first class I did was not the best class to do as an actual beginner, even though it said beginner. And this has made me really reflect on like how the process for anything that's new to a person, it's through their perspective. It's a totally different, we just have no idea where anyone is at. And so to meet somebody where they are at, to then, to help them where they're at, to then get to the next step safely, I think is something really important as me as a consultant to learn. It was interesting. Also, what I really loved about the class last night that I really want to talk about is how the teacher was so like accommodating to our own comfort levels. There was only 3 of us in the class, and she was very like, I'm gonna turn off the lights to make it more comfortable for you, because it is like a very sensual, vulnerable hobby of, trying to be sensual or sexual, however you want to see it, and it could be really uncomfortable, especially if you don't fall into the beauty standards that America or the world has out there. Like, it's kind of like that being rejected feeling that can come with being sensual. And I think to compare this to education, I think it is a very vulnerable job. You're working in a very personal job. You're working with staff who might say no to you, especially when you're trying to practice inclusion. And that was actually something I experienced at the second school I was at. I asked a teacher if one of my students could start going to her English class, because I was like, he's, other than like getting mad and having to leave the classroom to take a break, he's like at grade level. So how about he gets to start experiencing the classroom with his peers and, do that. And she was just so against him being in her class that she was like, well, how about I give you the work for a month and you give me the work that he's completed and I can tell you if he's ready. And it was just like, the fuck? So it's where was I going with this? Well, shoot. I'm sure I'll remember while I'm editing this video. I guess that's my vlog. That's how I felt. My next class won't be, it's the holidays, so we're gonna go down to Orange County to visit my family, and then like 2 days after I get back, I'm doing my next class. And then after that, I'm doing the class that I bruised my ribs at, and hopefully I will not bruise my ribs again. I'll definitely take it easier and listen to my body and listen to the boundaries that my body is trying to set, that my mind is like, no girl, you're fine. That's it. I've gotten weirdly used to talking into a camera. Hey, just cleaning the bathroom. So I had my 4th class today, and today it was the teacher and then a guy, and this is the second guy I've seen in all the classes I've done. I feel like I should maybe turn off the music. And so, we stretch, we all have our clothes on, like, sweat, like workout stuff. And then right before we're about to do after the warm up, we're about to do the class. The man like took off his clothes and was in like almost briefs, like very short shorts. And I was just like, wow, that is like not what I was expecting. And then the woman, the teacher, eventually like took off her clothes and was like kind of in lingerie, but I'd say like athletic lingerie. It was super cute. But it's just like, the vulnerability of like trying something new in your underwear is just like insane. That like, and at the beginning, the guy even said that he like used to pole dance and then he kind of stopped and now he's getting back into it. And his biggest reason was because he missed the community. Every single class has been like so uplifting. Everybody's so positive. I hope you can hear me through this trash bag. It's just so welcoming. Like, so why I'm bringing this back to inclusion is like practicing inclusion with children is hard. And like, especially for teachers who had no training on how to best help children with disabilities. And so it's just like a good reminder that being vulnerable comes from two different sides. I mean, it's coming from the person who's being vulnerable of like, I don't know how to help this student. Can you help me? Or, you know, what does this acronym mean? To the other person then being like, yeah, here, let me show you. Because let me tell you a pet peeve of mine. I absolutely hate it when people are like make you feel bad when you ask a question. When you're like, oh, what does IEP stand for? And then everyone's like, you don't know what IEP stands for? And then they make you feel like an idiot and you're like, no, I don't. Can you tell me now that you've made me feel like an idiot, please? So vulnerable goes both ways. I'll probably try to tag below Brene Brown's beautiful TED Talk about vulnerability. Anyways, that's what I have to say about pole dancing today. Blah. I'm out. Oh gosh, I'm probably gonna be really sore. Hi. I just had my 4th or 5th class yesterday for pole dancing. And man, it has just been so much fun. Just like the encouragement, the community. And I mean, so many people have talked to me about the community and it has just so focused. It has just made me focus on community for inclusion. It really is all about the school's culture. You know, what is your school's culture? And I don't know, is it like so divided that it's like kind of by classroom, or is there like a school-wide culture? And I feel like that is something that can really be detrimental to practicing inclusion. So that's pretty much it. I'm not as sore today. Actually yesterday was the first time going back to the class where I did bruise my ribs. And what I thought was, well, first off, I was a little nervous because the first time I went, it was really hard and she like really pushed me, but I kind of feel like she didn't push me as hard this time. Like I feel like she kind of like adapted her teaching to my ability. Like seeing how hard, and I'm sure, because I told other teachers that I did bruise my ribs, and I'm not sure if it got back to her, because she never even brought it up. We never even talked about it. Her class is full, so it's so hard to even talk to her. But she's such a phenomenal teacher. She's so good at teaching. She's so hands-on. I love it. But she definitely did seem to, well, also last time she told me to keep using the teacher pole. And when she told me this time, I was like, oh, I'll do it for a second. But like, I definitely figured out where my new boundaries were. And which was ironic, or which coincides with this whole thing, is that I was listening to an Adam Grant podcast where he talks to Nedra. I forgot her last name, but she wrote the book, Set Boundaries, Find Peace. Phenomenal book, phenomenal podcast. But it talks about how boundaries are not really other people's responsibilities. It's our responsibility to respect our own boundaries. And we can tell people about our boundaries. And then if they choose not to listen, it's up to us to be like, okay, you don't have to listen, but I'm not going to come back. Like, I'm not going to put myself in this uncomfortable situation when I already know I don't want to do it. And I think that was like a really good podcast to hear right before I went back to this really hard, much harder class, because it made me remind myself like, okay, your arms are getting sore. Let's like take a break, or let's just like sit back for a second, you know, like get some water, watch other people go, think about like the technique without the pole and holding onto your own body weight. So I think that's also very important in education, and I could talk a lot about boundaries in education, which I think I will eventually need to do a lot about. But, you know, right now I'm setting boundaries in my life and I don't have time for that. Maybe February. Anyways, thanks for being here. Vlog number 2, all done. And I just got my new hobby. I'm gonna try embroidering. This, I'm not patient. Cooking, not patient. Waiting in line, actually I'm gotten kind of better at that, but this is really gonna test my patience. I'm very nervous. I'm already not looking forward to trying to sit down and do this, but a lot of people are telling me how much fun I'm gonna have, so we'll see. Bye.